stop there. The incidence of renal diseases, bird defects, impact on agriculture and food production and our cocoa production. It's all well known. And I think these are the impact, and it's very, very clear. And yet, ladies and gentlemen, law enforcement was weak. Slow investigation. And this data should tell you that in 2024, 2023, total arrests, 35 prosecution. Should give you a picture, 4%. I think that we'll talk deeply about identifying the root causes. Why are we here? How did we get areas and poor people from going through this queue? It was pointless. Unemployment, poverty, and limited access to opportunity were clear factors as well. It gets worse. Corruption among political officials and law enforcement agencies who were supposed to lead the effort were all complicit, clearly. And then it was not even helped by the price of gold that kept going up. So it became clear that if I'm a teacher and I can easily make some bucks illegally, enforcement is not there, all I have to do is do it and then just pay some bribe. So it was free for all. This is when we came in. January 2027. You even remember the short period of time, how many licenses were rushed and given out. It was not even enough. This is the directive of President Mahama. You are going to do everything possible to bring this problem under control. So we began the 5 pillars, 5-pronged approach to talk about where we are, the crisis we face. We began with stakeholder education and engagement, because ultimately this fight will not be won by guns. It will be won by the heart and soul of every Ghanaian. We began collaboration and education and engagement with the powerful, the connected, the most powerful people. We started with Parliament, we went to Chiefs, House of Chiefs, we've been everywhere, educating them to use their voices and their position to help in addressing the crisis we face. Key stakeholders engagement across the country. A long list of everybody that matters in Ghana has been engaged within this short period of time. The second is what I talked about. We must completely, overhaul our regulatory regime. And we began by revoking those licenses that were given within that transitional period. And then embark on an aggressive process to review the large scale, small scale. We just finished earlier the small scale mining review. You will be shocked. Processes that should be followed were not followed. It was obvious that you have to be politically connected to get a license. It was very, very clear that if you do not have a political godfather, it will take you years to get a license. It was clear that the MCAS system that should allow everybody in the comfort of his room to see what is going on in the Minerals Commission was not happening. We initially came out with 907 licenses that had problems. But we didn't want to simply revoke the licenses. We gave opportunity to the small-scale miners to come in and show what they have. We've done the complete due diligence, and let me thank the chairman of the review, my able deputy minister, for this effort. I can tell you that the review is almost closed. At least, I'm sure, by next week when we announce it, at least 250 licenses will be revoked. I'm very sure about that one. It is very clear that we need to also review and amend the main Mining Act, Act 703. A lot of provisions there must be tweaked and strengthened. And why is it that those in Accra can just decide, because you are my friend, just get a license? You don't even know Elembele. You can just walk in there, wave your license the chiefs and the local people and tell them that I am coming to take the gold underground, your cocoa, and you have no power. This review includes reforming it and creating, empowering our chiefs and communities in the district areas where the gold is. We are going to form district mining committees to make sure that the recommendation for licenses will first and foremost come from the district, the owners of the resource. We are also going to create avenues for not only medium scale, but small scale, but medium scale. What has happened? Small scale mining is 25 acres. So I go through all this hustle and I get 25 acres. When I finish mining it, I have to go through this lengthy, crazy program. Now I'm going to Accra again. All I have to do is just continue the illegality. How do we create the opportunity for those who have done the right thing to be given medium scale and large scale? As the president has announced, we have been, as Ghanaians, at the back of the bus. We've been in the middle in the mining industry for over 100 years. We think that Ghanaians have reached the point where they can have the commanding heights of the mining sector, as Nkrumah will describe. And when you see the president making the case that when we give you a 30-year mining lease, it is not automatic, that is going to just be given, and that we are going to now move in that direction to empower Ghanaians. This is what the president meant. And so we are doing a lot. I'm very happy to tell you that within this 9 months, we've visited every region, we've met every House of Chiefs, we've met the National House of Chiefs. We are almost 90% complete with the reform of the law and the policy, and I believe next year all these amendments will be in place. This is how much we have been working. On regulations, as I've described, we have audited, and I think I've made all these points already. The other important aspect of this fight is, as we are doing the regulations, we need to strengthen enforcement, because it's very clear that it was free for all. Everybody was digging everywhere that there was no tomorrow. And so those recalcitrant people must be dealt with. And so at this point, where it became a free-for-all, everybody was forming a task force. Thanks to the coordination and cooperation of the Minister of Interior and the Defense, and I'll talk a bit about it when we get to some point. We have jointly have a coordinated force and establish what we call the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operation. At this point, when it comes to the law enforcement, I'll invite Colonel Dominic Boa, no relation, to come to come and can I come this way, please?
It's a team of dedicated men and women.
It's very important.
Who form NIMOS.
Yes,
and he will take us through the structure of NIMOS, who is part of it, who is not part of it, what they have done in the period that they have been in existence, and where they seek to go with the fight against Galamsey based on their experiences in the fight. So, Kanabua, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, NIMOS is basically, as the Honorable Minister said, a coordinating tool, a coordinating center established by your government to ensure that there is a unified approach to the fight against illegal mining. And therefore, NIMOS is leading the charge to effect the arrest and send them for prosecution. We also ensure that environmental laws are strictly adhered to at NIMOS. Of course, the local authorities, especially the chiefs, are part of this fight and therefore collaborate very well with them and all state institutions. So NIMOS, in brief, is a coordinated approach, well integrated with all institutions and organizations and individuals who are involved in the fight, so that we have a unified approach to the fight against illegal mining. Who is in NIMOS? As I said, it is an all-encompassing and integrated approach. So we have the base of our security, the National Security Secretariat, who are leading the charge with NIMOS. Of course, the parent ministry is the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. That's their brainchild, from the wisdom of His Excellency the President. And we sit at the Secretariat. Now, the order of NIMOS is that His Excellency is the overall head of NIMOS, and then the sector minister leads the charge. And he is advised by a team of ministers to call the Ministerial Advisory Group on NIMOS. And this comprises the sector minister, Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Ministers of Interior, the National Security Coordinator, the Minister for Defense, the Attorney General, all others, the local government minister, and all other people involved in the fight against illegal mining. They advise the sector minister on the direction to go with the fight. And then there is a secretariat which has been procured, and NIMOS sits at secretariat headquarters, has myself as the director of operations. I take instructions from the sector minister and the ministerial advisory group. And I have 3 deputies who assist with the running. A very important leg of the NIMOS is that we have field task forces, which is an integrated and unified one. Hitherto, we had various institutions doing it on their own. Now we managed to bring everybody on board, the institutions and the security services that matter. And I must say that, as I earlier said, we have the National Security Secretariat, then we have the Ghana Armed Forces made up of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, the Ghana Police Service. We noticed that earlier the police were doing so well by the independent operation, the IGP Special Task Force. They've all been integrated into the NIMOS, and we are working together. You can see I have a Superintendent Keita here, who is our police assistant director at the headquarters. Then also we have the National Investigations Bureau. We have the Ghana Immigration Service, because of the foreigners in the space who are not legally authorized to do mining in that small-scale sector. And then we have Narcotics Control Commission. There's a lot of drug issues when you get to the Galamsey site. Of course, we have the chiefs. We have a lot of local informants, because it is a collective effort. The small-scale miners are involved. They have an association who give us a lot of insight into what is happening on the ground. And together, we forge ahead in the fight in this unified manner. I must say that we have the Blue Water Guards, who are doing marvelously well. They are more or less like the eyes and ears along the riverland communities. So what happens is that they are deployed, about 1,000 of them, almost 1,000 of them are deployed, and they give us a lot of information on the operations to conduct. Then also, we have the local chiefs who also assist us with information. I know what I'm doing. So what is NIMOS doing? What is NIMOS doing? When I say kinetic refers to the brute force, the use of the military and the police in the trenches, in the water bodies, in the forest reserve, which the soldiers and the police are good at doing, clearing the illegal miners from the space. This is enforced with technology, the use of drones and surveillance. Aside that, the addition we are bringing on board is a non-kinetic one, which is the soft approach. So for instance, we are leveraging on the knowledge of the chiefs, because they are the owners of the communities and they know. So aside what government is doing, we are also, as NIMOS, engaging the chiefs. We go to the communities and sensitize them on the harmful effects of the illegal mining and the fact that they know these illegal miners. They should give us information when they come on the ground to perform the illegal mining activities. We also work with the security on the ground. So NIMOS doesn't work alone. We have already existing military units, police stations, the national security infrastructure, whom we work with. so that the fight will be a more unified one. Of course, I mentioned technology, which plays a key role in the fight against illegal mining. Now, tracing to the big fishes is one area which is very important. Many a times you go to the site, you see these young boys who are desperate for a little bit of money to take care of themselves. We say that we should dig and look inside the veil, behind the veil, who are those there? And that is where the Honorable Attorney General is helping us so much. So we trace, investigate, and question, and find out who are the real people behind the financiers, because they are the ones that can lead to dipping the galamsey menace in the bud. So we are also working at tracing the financiers and the influential people behind the galamsey. Now, what are the achievements of NIMO so far? Since May, we've been working in close collaboration with the police service, the Ghana Armed Forces, and all the other agencies which have been operating task forces. Luckily, we have been able to unify them. But I must say that, as His Excellency said in about 3 weeks back, about the 2 outstanding forest reserves, about a week and a half ago, we were able to take those forest reserve, that is the Achumamponia Forest Reserve, which was very decisive, a 4 or 5 days operation. We did that concurrently with the Desiree Forest, so the 2 are now free of illegal miners. Finally, we handed them over, and then 2 days after, some people decided to go back. With the ground intelligence, we quickly went in massively, and we subdued those armed gangs. And currently, they are in their cells, and Honorable Attorney General is leading in their prosecution. That is what NIMOS is going to do going forward. About 450 excavators have been seized at various police stations and barracks locations, and the necessary registration and tagging is ongoing. Currently, as I speak this morning, one of my deputies and a team from the various organizations, Forestry Commission, Minerals Commission, are off to Kumasi to register all those ones we have in safe custody. They will go around the whole country, all the lodgement areas, and make sure that the state gets a full hand on all these seized excavators and take the necessary decision so that they don't go back into the illegal mining sites. We have over 1,400 people arrested, and at various levels of investigation and prosecution. The Honorable Attorney General, I'm sure, will speak to these ones. Over 500 chamfans, in fact, 500 is an understatement. They have all been destroyed. And I've told my troops that they should be brutal when they get to water bodies and there are chamfans inside. We will not bring chamfans out because it is at a cost to the state, and they may not even be serviceable. So the best thing is to damage, destroy, and burn them completely in the water bodies, and then later we'll go and clear the debris so that the chemicals and the corrosion can go off the water. So that is what we are doing, and it's a bold step. We will not stop doing that. We'll continue to burn them in the water. The forest reserve, whatever equipment we cannot use, we will damage them, including excavators. We'll scatter them into pieces in situ. Over 1,000 pumping machines. I must say that about 900 have already been presented by the Honorable Minister for Lands and then Agriculture to farmers who are putting them to good use. As I speak, I have about 150 still in the NIMO stores ready to be presented to the farmers so that they can be put to better use than destroying our environment. Then also, there are a lot of weaponry in the Galamsey sites. There are some of them we've seized. We are processing them. We'll be handed over to the Ministry of Interior and the National Security Secretariat so that the necessary disposal actions can be carried out. I must say that there are some vehicles that were seized from illegal mining sites. They are no longer for the owners. The Honorable Attorney General has told us that he's going to help us to seize them. We will seize them as soldiers. But the Honorable Attorney General will help us to secure them legally. Once we get them legally, we'll continue to use them for our operations because we need these resources to carry out the operation. It's a better use than using them for illegal mining. So going forward, I must say that what should Ghanaians expect? There's a lot more. The NIMOS is going to deploy fully, firmly, as the minister has been highlighting, across the length and breadth of the country. In fact, we've zoned the whole country into 7 illegal mining zones or regions, and further sectorize them into 21. And we're going to deploy troops enough at every center. They will be there 24/7. The illegal miners think they can operate in the night. No, we will picket every location and make sure that life is made unbearable for them going forward. And we'll be ruthless with them because they are environmental terrorists, as Dr. Kashibe used to say. They are treated as such. We have only Ghana. We need to do everything possible to protect it. The 21 zones we have been given focus by His Excellency the President. Every water body within those zones, every forest reserve, the roads and railways which are being dug, and then foreigners who have come to destroy our environment, we will focus on those areas and make sure that those who are mine legally have the access to the legal areas to mine sustainably. Very soon, NIMOS will have a 24-hour toll-free line. And these lines have been procured. We are just renovating the secretariat, and all citizens will have the right to call in. If you see any illegal mining going on anywhere, say something, do something. We will create the opportunity for you to say it so that we can analyze 24/7 and send the troops who are on to get the drones and the right technology so that once we deal with the place, we are able to see or follow through with the surveillance of the place and don't get the return of these illegal miners. So, His Excellency, Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to send this warning to illegal miners, their attorneys and financiers, that they are prime enemies of the state, and they will be dealt with as such. There will be no room for them to escape or to hide. NIMOS will smoke them out very soon. There is no resting place for them. They should get ready and be assured that very soon our waters will turn blue and our forests will turn green. We have already trained over 400 troops who are the first batch deployed or under deployment to sensitive areas. We will continue to deploy more so that we will all go to bed knowing that NIMOS is firmly on the ground and illegal mining will be a thing of the past. So all illegal miners, galamseyers, their financiers and assigns, beware. NIMOS is closer to your bases, and there will be no hiding place for you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Colonel Dominic Bois, for that presentation. So, Colonel Dominic Bois and his men have arrested over 1,400 illegal miners. The immediate question that arises is what is being done to these illegal miners and their principals. To help us navigate that, I wish to invite another Dominic, this time the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Akuritinga Ayini, to take us through the legal steps that have been put in place to make the fight even more robust. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, and good afternoon, my fellow Ghanaians. In terms of the legal steps, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has underscored the fact that legal and regulatory reform is at the heart of what we are doing in order to change the narrative about illegal mining. So one of the things we have done is to review the Minerals and Mining Act, and I have advised the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources that the current state of the law is such that licenses and leases can be granted over the whole territory of the Republic of Ghana. That includes forests, that includes the territorial waters and the exclusive economic zone. So the first thing to do is for us to streamline the Minerals and Mining Act. And for instance, in respect of mining in forest reserves, we will put a provision in the statute, in the bill, when enacted, that will prohibit mining in forest reserves completely. And I have told the minister that one of the things we can do is to identify all the forest reserves and put them in a schedule attached to the bill and make it categorically clear that no license for mining activity or lease for the conduct of mining can be granted in respect of all the forest reserve attached to the statute. Now that means that at any point in time that the law, the position has to change, they have to go back to Parliament and then review the law, which makes it politically more difficult. Also, we have prepared an instrument that is LI 2505 in my office, and that will be laid in Parliament on the 14th. The minister and I have agreed that on the 14th of October, when Parliament resumes, we'll lay that instrument to revoke the famous LI 2462, which is the days. It matures, and from that time onwards, we will not have LI 2462. Now, in terms of prosecutions, the statistics that were given included 1,400 arrests. 1,400 arrests. Now, the biggest problem we've had with the arrests is the 48 hours rule. Constitutional principle that we must bring them before the courts within 48 hours. Most of the judges have been granting them bail. So I remember the point that was made by Colonel Boa. When we arrested 9 people in Kumasi, he called me and I told him that immediately place them before the court and then ask for them to be detained so that we do our investigation. When they appeared before the court, Your Excellency, they were granted bail. Okay? Then they went back. He was very good in monitoring them. They went back into the forest. So I told him that even despite the fact that they've been granted bail, because they have gone back into the forest, they've committed a new offense. I asked him to arrest them, but to bring them to Accra, instead of placing them before a court in Kumasi. And I'm dealing with them now. They are in detention. We will not release them. We will make sure that even if the High Court says we should grant them bail, we'll go to Court of Appeal and go to the Supreme Court to ensure that we hold them until the dockets are prepared and then we send them to court. Currently, we have initiated prosecutions in 65 dockets. And Mr. President, there's a difference. When we say 65 dockets, it is not 65 individual persons who are being prosecuted. Some of them are more than 10. In fact, there is one case in the Western North. There are 28 minors that are involved in that prosecution. So the 65 dockets, by my calculation, contains about 600 persons that are illegal minors that are being prosecuted. And I'm happy to announce that in 2002, the police conducted very diligent investigations in respect of Akonta mining. But the docket was hidden until we came to power. In fact, when we came to power and I started the investigation with the the Lands and Natural Resources Minister and the Forestry Commission, we were finding it difficult to get information. Subsequently, the police themselves owned up and presented the docket to my office 2 months ago. So as we speak, the charges against Chairman Wuntumi, Akonta Mining, and 5 others have been signed as I speak. Currently, we are waiting for him to be read his right to remain silent, etc. Before we've asked that he should be brought from, Kumasi. His lawyers asked that he should be brought on Tuesday, but I'm insisting that he should be here on Monday. If he doesn't come on Monday, I'm going to order for his arrest so that he'll be brought to Accra, his rights to be read to him, and then we can start the prosecution. We have also put in place certain measures to ensure that the prosecution goes faster than normal. We have approached the Chief Justice, who has agreed to assign specialized courts for the prosecution of illegal mining cases. And I have laid before Cabinet, on Tuesday, Cabinet will meet and approve the Public Tribunals Bill, which will go to Parliament on a certificate of agency. And if by December the tribunals are in place, most of the circuit tribunals will be given exclusive jurisdiction to deal with mining cases. And we will appoint the chairman and panel members of the tribunals, give them timelines beyond which they should not carry a case. So, for instance, we will insist that every mining case should end within 6 months. If there are reasons for you to appeal, that is fine. But the tribunal must deliver its verdict within 6 months. Currently, we don't have those statutory timelines in CI 47, that is the High Court Civil Procedure Rules. So I want Parliament to help me to put those timelines in the tribunal's bill, so that the tribunals will do the cases very fast. So, Mr. President, this is where we are in terms of the legal steps. And as I said, law enforcement, regulatory reform is at the heart of what we are doing. And we will not spare any person, in terms of the accountability for their destruction of the environment. Thank you very much.
Very much. Honorable Dominic Akuritinga Ayini, Attorney General and Minister for Justice. Now, we have seen very disturbing photos and videos of our pristine water bodies turning murky and filled with toxic material. But in the last few months, there have been significant gains in reversing the trend. So Dr. Mawuli Lumo, who is with the Water Resources Commission, is up next. He will take us through the gains made so far and what can be done going forward to ensure that all our river bodies return to normalcy. Dr. Lumo, the floor is yours. Please go back to the presentation. He has some slides to share. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. These are the current levels of turbidity that we have measured compared with that of 2024. Turbidity is simply how clear a water body appears, and it is measured in NTU, nephelometric turbidity unit. And nephelometry is simply how light is scattered or penetrates a water body. So if you point a light to a water body, it will present whether it is scattered or it is penetrated. What comes back, you measure it, and that gives you the level of turbidity. So if you look at the rivers, at Shofiri also on the River Tano, on average for the year 2024, it was 139. When we monitored it for this year, if you take the average, it came down to 14, and that was an 89% improvement. At Berekese, it was 22 in 2024, and then 11. That's about a 50%. At Dominasi, on the River Cobra, where NIMOS has operated extensively, it was 2,870. It has come down to 1,927. On the Densu River at Manguasi, when we monitored it, the average for 2024 was 129. It has come down to 34 for 2025. That's about 73% improvement. And then the Tano also, on the River Tano, it was 10. And when we measured this year, it was average was 9. That's about 10%. Then at Ampasia, close to the Honorable Minister's constituency, it was 1,500, and it's now 520. That's about 65% improvement. We would like to employ on NIMO to spread, because there are other places where we've had elevated turbidity. And so we will call on NIMOS to be able to spread their activities to those places, especially in the Eastern region, Central, so that at least we can also get rid of the illegal miners polluting our water bodies. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
So the Honourable Minister will conclude the presentation, after which we take contributions from CSO presidents.
So I think the last point he was making was that every time we've paid attention to a particular river body, like what NIMOS has done to Ankobra, we've seen some improvement. And so I think that the effort to basically declare some of these areas as security zones will be very, very important in driving these numbers in the positive side. We missed something that I have to go back to, and it has to do with the excavators. But let me say it before I talk about the alternative livelihood. One area that was completely missed throughout all this process was the import of excavators. And ladies and gentlemen, you'll be surprised to know this, that for a whole 8 years, no excavator that was imported in Ghana went through registration with the DVLA. So it was free for all. Every excavator was coming in. I told you, His Excellency summoned us to pay attention to the import of excavators. Within 1 month, we had seized 1,200 excavators, and there was no space at the Tema port. So we had to have a meeting to decide between the Minister of Transport, Finance, and my ministry what we can do to decongest. We were lucky to get the military to give us a place, and that is where most of those excavators were left in. And what happened? You couldn't move these excavators and add on to the traffic. So it was decided that we should move them when the traffic were gone. And so that is really the story of those movement of excavators. I can tell you now that as we speak, that we have DVLA office station at Tema Port working closely with the Minerals Commission. What are they doing? Every excavator, before you even import it, the new inspection regime, the new review is that you have to be approved to import excavator. Thanks to the collaboration with the Minister of Transport, the Minister of Finance, myself, we collectively have to approve it. If you say you are coming to import excavator for mining, the Minerals Commission will bring me a letter and then will be approved. If you say you want to do quarry or you are in construction, the appropriate ministry will give us. That's when the Minister of Transport can now authorize the import. We still have thousands of excavators sitting there. Everybody is now waiting. I don't know why they are delaying, but those who have imported it are supposed to bring their legal licenses to claim it. And it's very clear, we created a process. If indeed you are bringing it for construction, a legitimate company or a quarry business, you have a contract, you are doing it, we'll readily release those excavators for that work. But oftentimes those that are questionable are still there. We are deciding on a timeline within a period where we don't find the owners, we will confiscate all that to the state. But that regime is very important. What we are doing, what Minerals Commission is also doing is that not only registering the excavators at the DVLA, we are also tracking them. And if you look at some of the numbers we have so far, we have basically registered, DVLA has registered 1,181, and we have tracked 724 of them, which means that if you tell me you are taking those excavators to Takwa, we'll track it and make sure that when you go anywhere and it's not Takwa, you have a problem. We have a control room that is monitoring all these excavators in the system. And then we geofence it as well. You say you are going to mine in Takwa, we know the perimeter of that mining area. You have to send it and operate within that perimeter. Anytime it goes outside the geofence area, that excavator will be disabled. And so those systems will be tightened as we go forward. And ultimately the plan is to make sure every excavator in this country is tracked and geofenced. Yes, I'm winding up. Well, I can't wind it up. There are two important things. I think I talked about degraded land. What are we doing about it? What are we doing about degraded land? I first talk about the water bodies. As you know, we launched what we call the Tree Life Initiative. His Excellency launched this in Kumasi last March. And the policy is to make sure we plant this year alone 60 million seedlings between the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Lands. I'm very happy that program has started, and we are moving full steam ahead on that. We've also, as part of the initiative, focusing on decomicalizing the water bodies and making sure we protect these water bodies. Often I hear whether the water going. At this moment, my social media said, "Oh, one of my blue water girl female has been impregnated by a man." I said, I said, well, but the truth is that these blue water girls, it's funny, I read it on social media. Well, these blue water guards are not only educating those communities in the riverine area, they are acting as intelligent officers. A lot of equipment that has been seized because of the blue water guards. And so I strongly believe they are a very important addition to the fight. And we have recruited almost 1,000 of them this year. We're going to continue recruiting more of them. They are doing a good job. I think one of the critical pillars, which is basically the last pillar, is providing alternative suitable. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, before I even say anything, can we all rise in memory of our departed colleagues who, in the fight of this illegal mining, lost their life? Can we have a minute of silence, please? May the life of our departed colleagues and may their souls rest in perfect peace. Amen. We have, thanks to the President, we established a responsible small-scale mining program. So far, we've identified a lot of areas working with large-scale mining companies as a team to make sure we transfer their best practices to these communities, create a win-win partnerships for them. A lot of mining companies are now on board. We've begun that process, and what we are doing is to make sure that everybody who wants to engage in mining, we've created a legal pathway for them. We have also created the audit that we are talking about, all those areas that are good, that are not going to destroy water bodies, and our forests will be allocated to the responsible corporate mining program to make sure that people will give them all the tools they need so that they can mine responsibly and sustainably. And so the fight against illegal mining, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, anytime you talk about where we have been, think about the debt where we started. Within 9 months, these are the steps we've taken. But as I said, it is not a sprint, it's a marathon. What gives me hope and what we are looking at is that we believe that by next year, we'll review completely our laws and our policies. We believe that we are going to continue this fight and make sure that we start seeing marked improvement, not only in our forests, but our water bodies. Our reclamation program is very expensive. I take the opportunity to call on all Ghanaians, especially corporate Ghana, to come to support in this effort. Think about 7,500 football fields in the forest that we have to reclaim. Billions of Ghana cedis. And so we will continue this fight. We will continue with the COMSDEP program and all the other alternatives to empower our young people to move away. We are working closely to make sure we improve our turbidity levels, as has been said. But the data is very clear. We are on a forward march. Are we where we want to be? No. Have we been making progress? Yes. I'm confident we are on the right path. And I believe, as the President has said, Ghanaians will be at the forefront of this mining industry, and we'll do it responsibly, making sure that our water bodies are 10 blue. And what gives me confidence is the political will and the leadership that His Excellency John Mahama is providing. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. So, government has presented its offerings in the fight against illegal mining. President Mahama would now like to hear from members of civil society organizations present, as well as the clergy. So the floor will be opened. If you have any comments, contributions, or indications to give, please put up your hand. The microphone will be brought to you. And I would urge that in the interest of time, we avoid lengthy preambles and go straight to the points that we want to make. We will take about 5 contributions, after which His Excellency will share with us a few remarks. Right. So I see about 3 hands here. There's a lady. Yes, please rise and make your contribution.
Okay. Hello, I'm Dr. Najo Ajeli-Bojani. I'm here on behalf of One Ghana Movement. I want to make a comment on what the gentleman talking about, the water presentation. Yes, he gave some figures. I'm not sure that is really the full picture, because recently in the news it was reported that some of the water bodies are 90,000 NTU and over, and turbidity levels are just about the things we can see. That's the cloudiness of the water. He didn't talk about what we are doing to take care of the heavy metals, because we have, as a result of Galamsey, we have mercury, cyanide that they use to get the gold, and cyanide is causing, I'm a medical doctor by profession, I'm also a researcher. Cyanide is causing a lot of organ dysfunctions in our clinic. We see mercury poisoning in our clinics, but he didn't talk about what we are doing. We don't have the facilities, as far as I know, to we are on a forward march, because I feel like we are not doing enough. Because we are even last year we even had a lot of cholera cases. This is all as a result of Galamsey. We have malaria cases as well. Right. And yeah, we are tired of seeing these things in our hospitals. All right.
So Dr. Luma will answer that presently. I see another hand. There's a gentleman in a hat. Yes. Yeah, Dr. Akenashibe, pardon me for not making it out.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, unfortunately, the time that has been given is quite short. Yeah. So we have written out what we would present, and we would give it to you, and we would give a copy to the press as well. His Excellency, we believe that there's some political will that you've demonstrated. The minister is working. But the elephant in the room was not mentioned. You heard the Attorney General talk only about Akontamai. The Attorney General has referred some politically exposed persons to the Iyoko. We've not heard anything about that. There are some politically exposed persons that we, the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, have petitioned you about. We've not heard anything about that. There are some chiefs that are complicit in it. So let me read just a short bit of what our ask is. Our ask is that, given the unprecedented crisis and the fact that our demands are clear, we ask you, His Excellency, to clearly tell us in granular definition, your granular definition of success in the fight against Galamsey. Also share with us very definitive roadmap that would include key milestones and timelines and how we are going to get there. We believe that the work that has been done by EPA and all about the level of heavy metals in our water bodies, the turbidities that have gone above 98,000 NTUs, and my brother, the scientist, that report shared with us, unfortunately, for all of us who are scientists, we know that this is not how you measure water quality. We know that that's not how you do it. You need to deal with the seasonalities. You need to deal with what the water quality index is, what you should be sharing with us, and telling us what is it that we've been consuming as a people. And all of us our lives are at risk. Our lives are at very risk. So we ask that His Excellency, you also tell us what benchmark would compel you to invoke the state of emergency, which you term is your last resort. We believe that a state of emergency is critical to carrying out some of the things that the minister has spoken about, to deal with the ecocidal genocide that is being perpetuated against all of us as Ghanaians. We also ask that the fast-track court that is being mentioned, timelines be put to them, and then the key things be also mentioned. What are the key performance indicators that have been given to our MCs, DCs, police commanders in areas where Galamsey is still going on? And what are the consequences for failure? Because we see a lot of them failing, but nothing is happening to them. We also ask that the chiefs, that some of them that are doing good work, and there are examples of them, Mampong, Gemma, and there's a community where they have a water body called...
Dr. Shigbe, not to rush you, because of time, I would kindly ask that you wrap up, so that...
Okay, I would wrap up. Yeah. So our quest is that the chiefs, anywhere that Galamsey is going on, the chiefs are either acquiescing or they know something about it. Those lands be confiscated and the chiefs be investigated. This on our behalf. And then finally, the last one is the issues around accountability measures. Ghana Water Research should be publishing the quality index of water that is coming to all the treatment plants. The president should also commission a group to be doing food quality tests and publishing that to all of us so that we are sure that we are not consuming poison. And we will submit this document to His Excellency. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'll take a couple of questions from here. I see a hand up from behind, and then one. There's a Reverend Minister in front here. Yes. Please, same rubric applies. Short and succinct.
Okay. Your Excellency the President, state officials,
so much for brevity. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go straight to the point.
Yes.
Mr. President, I state unequivocally that our nation is at war. There are criminals, environmental terrorists, greedy men and women that have waged war against the sovereignty of Ghana and her citizens. They are not fighting us with missiles. They are not bombarding us with bombs. But they are fighting us, including generations unborn, with mercury, cyanide, arsenic, lead, and what have you. Where we have gotten to now, we have to make a decisive decision whether we are going to tolerate what is going on at the moment, or we are going to take a frantic action to arrest the menace of Galamsey. And I'm going to appeal to the president that he must do what the president of Ghana must do. He must do what the president of Ghana must do, which is, Mr. President, declare a state of emergency. Mr. President, only you have the power to declare a state of emergency. And therefore, please, do it. Professor Osai Sampeni, just last week.
You've made your appeal. In the interest of time,
no,
let us move to...
No, 2 more minutes.
No, I'm afraid I cannot afford that. So the Reverend Minister in front here will have his bite of the cherry, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Asofo, you have the floor.
Thank you. Your Excellency, I want to take opportunity to congratulate the effort that has been made so far. In the presentation by the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, he indicated plans to establish district mining committees. My concern is whether this will not be another avenue for corrupting the system at the local level and even granting these opportunities more frequently than what we see now. In terms of the vehicles, the machinery that are being confiscated, I humbly would want to request for very transparent accountability in the interest of government so that naysayers will not pick it up and talk about missing excavators and chamfer machines. And so I want to request for transparency. My third question is whether we can have regular weekly updates. I mean, the concern for state of emergency being declared is coming from an apprehension of what is being done. And so if, like we are hearing now, there can be a regular update, I mean, statewide, so that people know what progress is being made and people can see pictures so that hearts will be at rest as to what is happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I saw the hand of Colonel Abuaji at the back. But we will come back for a second round of questioning. So those of you who want to ask more questions, you will have the opportunity to do so.
Chief, excuse me.
Does Colonel Abuaji have the mic? Yeah, please go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you, Excellency. I'm not representing myself. I'm representing the Center for Democratic Transitions, and I speak on behalf of Nana Atudazi, who is our executive coordinator. I've been requested to acknowledge the efforts that the government has put into the anti-Galamsey mining issue since being in office. We acknowledge that within this short time, it wouldn't be possible for us to achieve all the milestones. So I'll be presenting a paper with 6 points, and I would wish to just outline what those 6 points are.
And I hope it will be very brief.
Just the outline.
Okay, all right.
A, enforcement and operational control. B, licensing and regulatory reforms. C, environmental recovery and public health. D, livelihoods and economic alternatives. E, institutional transparency and political accountability. And last but not least, the strategic intelligence and security. Within this framework, I would wish to borrow from the strategic thought of the Chinese general Sun Tzu, that the best general is the one who wins a war without firing any shot. Our position as CDT is that at this material time, it is a bit premature to declare a state of emergency because it entails political, socio-economic, and other security risks. So therefore, our main point within this 6-point framework is to identify the center of gravity of Galamsey. And that center of gravity is the use of industrial machinery. So therefore, the main effort, and I'm speaking in terms of military strategy, the main effort of the state, the government, against that center of gravity will be to eliminate the use of machinery, heavy machinery. If we can do this in timelines, we would have reverted the issue of illegal mining to the days of Don Diego de Azambuja, when we were basically mining gold with basic implements. Once we do that, all other things will fall in line. But as I've said, our policy brief outlines the details of how we could go about this.
All right.
Once again, I thank you.
Thank you very much. As I indicated, we will come back for another round. But I would invite Dr. Lumo to address the medical doctor's concerns regarding dechemicalization and other important indices in the assessment of water quality. That can tie into Dr. Ashigbe's concerns relating to other metrics that you may not have spoken about. After him, the Attorney General will address the matter of politically exposed persons referred to his outfit for action and the status of that. His Excellency may want to speak about the state of emergency when he gets his turn to sum up. And then the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources will address concerns raised by Osofo on the District Mining Committee initiative and transparency and accountability measures to ensure that nobody takes advantage of the situation to enrich themselves, as was the case in the past. And then Colonel Abuaje's take on the premature calls for state of emergency may also be addressed by His Excellency when he gets the opportunity to wrap up. So, Dr. Lumo, shall we have you? Yeah.
Thank you. Hello? Okay. Thank you very much. On the issue of the monitoring, what we presented here is just one parameter. That's the stability that we all can relate to. It's what we see on the ground, and that is what we brought over here. For heavy metals, it's this year that we began monitoring heavy metals. We've always been doing only the physiochemicals. We've not done heavy metals, but this year we began this heavy metals monitoring, and I don't have the results here. That's why you don't see it here. On the issue of engineer Ashige point, what we presented here are the facts. As I pointed out during my presentation, these were selected locations where NIMOS has operated, and then the results. I also did mention that there are some places that we have elevated turbidity, and we are hoping that they can extend their operations to those places where they can effectively help us reduce the impact. I am also aware that, and I think if Chief Executive Officer of EPA is here, she can also speak to it, that they are in the process of acquiring a system that can help the separation of heavy metals from our water bodies. That's in the form of treating our water bodies. Thank you.
If the EPA CEO is here, she can shed light on that aspect of their operations.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Excellency. What the EPA is in the process of acquiring, it's a technology that will help treat our water bodies while the water are in their position. Be treated as they are on the lands where we have before they get into the treatment plant of the water companies.
Is there any indication of how quickly this is going to be done? Timelines. Dr. Ashigbe is interested in that.
The timelines is tied to financials as well. So we are seeking commitment authorization from the Ministry of Finance. Once we have that, we'll be able to procure this technology. It's a chemicalization of our water bodies. Then we'll go ahead with it.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Now, the Attorney General will speak to the politically exposed persons and the status of investigations, as well as any other actions that he may have initiated against such persons.
Thank you very much. It is true we referred two people who are politically exposed to the Economic and Organized Crime Office for investigation. These were the Honorable Yamin, and Abanga, who is a third national vice chairman, one of the vice chairmen of our party. When we did the referral, it was upon intelligence that we got that was sent to both myself and the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. But after we did, some petitions came from small-scale miners to the Economic and Organized Crime Office, then complicating the investigations. And so, as we speak, an investigative report is yet to be made to my office because those small-scale miners also brought their petitions that had allegations against the two persons who were referred. And so, at this point in time, I cannot definitively speak to what is contained in the investigative report because it is yet to be presented to my office by the EOCO. But we are definitely taking action on those matters. Thank you very much.
Right. Okay, so Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, are your district mining committees prone to corruption? And are there mechanisms to ensure transparency and accountability in the handling of assets that are confiscated during the fight when Kanebo and his men stormed these Galamsey sites?
Thank you very much. I think that before I answer that question, I think the point about the custody of the seized excavators and how we protect it to make sure we don't create that a challenge of missing excavators is something that has been taken on board. We're doing everything to make sure that those are strictly protected in government custody. Already in the current laws, everybody who gets the licenses, in the process of the licensing, are supposed to engage these mining communities and local communities. What has happened is that those are not happening. You've had a lot of complaints about chiefs in these mining communities. And so, when I was talking about the district mining committees, what I said was that they are going to be the first step in the licensing process and basically give recommendations. Those recommendations will be followed up by the Minerals Commission before those licenses are ultimately issued. And so I think it's an additional layer which I think will be helpful to address those concerns. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. We'll come back to regularity of yes. All right.
Oh, I think that's taken on board and it's something that we'll be doing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. So we'll come back to another 5 questions or contributions. So we'll start with second from left. Yes. Bishop, please, you have the floor.
Mr. President, respectfully arise on behalf of the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, listening to your presentation today, especially from the Honorable Minister and our soldier from Nemos. We acknowledge that something good is happening. However, we, as you know us, will continue to be consistent voice of truth to your administration, just as we've done to many other administrations. So permit me to read a few lines to you. We'll be submitting ours to you also.
Please go ahead.
In the name of God and on behalf of the good people of Ghana who voted for you, we urge you, Your Excellency, to provide the following: clear benchmarks that will trigger a state of emergency, visible prosecution of kingpins, including those named in official reports, the establishment of promised fast-track courts, measurable performance indicators for local authorities and security services, protection for communities and traditional leaders who resist Galamsey, alongside accountability for those complicit. Your Excellency, credibility is now as important as policy. Our people must see that no one is above the law and that economic expediency cannot outweigh the sacred right to clean water, safe food, and a healthy environment. We are with you in this fight, and so we beg of you and we urge you to act with courage and moral clarity. ecocidal tragedy of monumental proportions. Our house is on fire. Let us put it out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop, for those moving words. The president of the Ghana General Association leads an organization that has been vocal in the fight against Galamsey. So at this stage, we would hear from him and learn what his organization represents.
Thank you,
in this fight.
Minister. First of all, colleagues, as a matter of fairness, let's acknowledge the progress made so far. Until this day, I didn't know we had made such progress. And I must admit that that is for the good of this fight. And so we will continue to select on a matter of continued engagement and also update, as requested by my brother here, the Reverend Minister, that how do we tell the story? Because these are all stories which are not out there. We, as part of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, have been calling for the state of emergency. But having heard and followed the presentation today, I'm tempted to believe that we are on the right path. It is a matter of having progressive engagement and also getting the media involved in telling the story. After we need the resources, the tools to be able to get the story from the grounds and report it as it is. I believe that the Honorable Minister is here. I have called on him severally. The GJ is ever ready. Our doors are open to partner with the ministry to tell the story as it is, so that the citizens and the good people will appreciate what is being done. But I still think that, as you said, we still have a long way to go, and the government must not be complacent in what has been done so far. We must rather double our steps and ensure that success become ours. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So there's a gentleman in spectacles in the middle, in Fugu. Yes. It appears contributors are not identifying themselves. So please identify yourself, your organization, so that it helps us appreciate where you're coming from. Yes.
So my name is Professor Serge Nibwana. I'm the Director of Council for Scientific Industrial Research, Water Research Institute. And I must say that what we're hearing and what we've seen, I think, is quite good for the progress that have been made so far. And I must indicate that when the commander spoke about the Galamsey monitoring in the day, I said, well, that is no. But then he has indicated that they are going to continue this during the evening and the night. And I think if that is the strategy, they must try and follow through with that. Now, you will note that Dr. Lemore did indicate the level of turbidity reducing significantly. And I must say that it's not the first time, because I remember in 2017, there was a year ban on Galamsey. In fact, Water Research Institute had been following through in terms of monitoring of the water, and we saw a significant reduction in the turbidity, and alongside we also saw reduction also in other heavy metals. What I might say that the water itself will be able to cleanse itself over some period, but it will take some time. So I recommend, and I ask Mr. President, that if this is halted, then there must be a regular monitoring of heavy metals in the water. And we must know that it's not only the mercury, because there are some heavy metals that come along with the ore, which we break for the mining. So during the process of the crushing, grinding, and the washing, other poisonous
heavy metal are also released, like arsenic, which is carcinogenic, like lead and many other. So we are employing the president that there must be, as we take this action, there must be a constant monitoring so that we'll be able to notice what progress is being made. And as the EPAC CEO has also indicated, there is also the need to look at trying to clean the waters as well. But I must indicate that this is quite voluminous water. Pra alone is about 375 kilometers. And if you want to clean it costs for a lot of money to that. But I think that in specific areas may require. I must also indicate that especially areas around the intake of water for Ghana Water Company, those areas must be looked at in terms of decriminalization so that this effort will be made. But I must say, a good progress is being made, but we need to hold on and do our best to ensure that this is done. Now, I believe that when it is done, we will have a lot of health hazard that we are seeing come to an end. I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. There's a lady at the back here whose hand is up. Please give the microphone to her. So please identify yourself and let us hear your contribution.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Patience Tay. I'm an environmental and political activist. My question is this. Earlier this year, a representative of this government, Samuel J. made a statement that LI 2462 will be repealed in May when Parliament resumes. May came and the LI was not revoked. The lands minister said, I think in August or September, I'm not exactly sure. It was October. Okay. In October or...
Please allow her to put her thoughts.
I think within the weeks or last weeks or whatever the situation here.
All right, please go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so he made a statement that the LI would be revoked when Parliament resumes in October.
Yes.
How can we believe that when there have been inconsistencies?
All
so
right.
that is my question.
All right, thank you very much. Now I'll take a contribution from the representative of Islamic organizations here. Please bring him the microphone. Okay, all right.
Thank you. Adding my voice to the gains made so far by the government, to the so far as what other colleagues were saying. Now, having listened to the presentation and then the contribution coming from the House, there is one fundamental issue that I think we should be looking at, and that is enforcement. All the suggestions we are listening to has been captured already in the presentation. Those are brilliant solutions. All we need at this stage is to enforce. Right from the legal to the task force and then the blue, is it the blue armies? The blue water. We know exactly what to do. We have an idea of what to do. From the Muslim community, we are just asking that let's work on the enforcement and we'll make a lot of gains. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we'll now take a contribution from a representative of small-scale miners who have perspectives to share on this matter. For the avoidance of doubt, these are not galamseyers. These are small-scale miners.
Yes, thank you very much.
Properly so-called.
I'm Godwin Ama, the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. Your Excellency, we, the Association of Small-Scale Miners, have hope. We know the issue of illegal mining is not an event, but it's a process. So we are going to work with NIMOS to ensure that we attain the extraordinary, that is, ensuring that our water bodies gain the turbidity levels that we all want to see. The establishment of the Gold Board, as one of the example, is that whilst we are able to, formalize the downstream, which is the trading aspect of the small-scale mining sector, and we are seeing the gains in terms of gold production, which we've not seen in this country before. Every month we are getting close to 2 tons of gold. And if you look at the economic benefits, you know that the industry is something that we cannot say is not contributing to the socio-economic gains of the country. The issue of Galamsey, one of the areas is the importation. We've seen excavators being tracked and all that. I want to ask the minister what he's doing about the importation of chamfans. Because now that you don't have the excavators, even the chamfans, the havoc that they can cause with the use of what we call one leg, and then small China, and all that, they can do a lot of havoc, even more than the excavators. So we propose that there should be some sort of restriction so that those who have licenses will have access to it instead of it being imported by everyone. Because research that we've done, it comes in thousands.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I saw the hand of Franklin Kujo up. So Franklin, you have the floor. And Your Excellency, with your kind permission, we'll take 2 additional contributions and then we'll come to you.
Oh, thank you very much. I'd just like to say that it looks as if we need more money, and I'm saying this for the simple reason. When I looked at last year's budget for fighting Galamsey, there's about 10 million Ghana cedis. You guys allocated almost 50 million Ghana cedis to fight Galamsey, and already we are seeing some results. Question I have, how much money do you really need to fix everything? We just want to know. And by the way, you have to be giving us updates as to how you use the money. So how much money do you really need? Because it looks to me 50 million is enough, and I'm seeing some results really, but we need more. Second question, is it official government policy to be deporting Chinese who are engaged in Galamsey?
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So there's a gentleman at the back, and then we'll take a lady in the light blue shirt also at the back, and that will be it. All right, please identify yourself and then.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Dr. Solomon Usu from Denver, Colorado, United States.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Dr. Usu.
All right. I'm here because of Honorable Muntaka. He has passed a policy that whenever these foreigners who are criminals are arrested, we are supposed to deport them. Your Excellency, you all remember that I asked a similar question back in 2019, Mr. Osafo Mafo, and then it became a political capital for NDC. Why are we repeating the same thing? If we can arrest Chinese guys who are the key Galamseyers in this country, and we just deport them without enforcing them to reclaim our lands and restore our water bodies, then what is the fight about? What is the difference between arresting them, deporting them, and I shall once arrest and the deportation? Honorable Muntaka should explain to us. If we cannot prosecute and jail the Chinese nationals, then there's no point prosecuting and jailing Ghanaians who commit the same offense in the country that they come from.
All right,
secondly, secondly,
please make it very
we've been
simple.
talking about responsible mining, and in fact, I must congratulate the sector minister, Mr. Boa, and the team about the good work that they've done so far. It's not enough. Ghanaians want to see restored water bodies. Ghanaians want to see reclaimed lands. When are we starting? I know he has important and very strong policies coming up, to be rolled out on reclamation and restoration of water bodies. We need to expedite it for Ghanaians to see the good works that you are doing. Thank you very much.
So there's a lady behind here who has the floor now.
My name is Priscilla Toboli. I'm representing Fix the Country. Now, my question is, why have we not seen prosecutions from the frontline institutions that issue the reckless mining licenses? And then when is it going to begin? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. President, there is a representative of the Ghana Association of Disabled Persons. So we want to give them the opportunity. Physically challenged. Pardon my mix up. Yes.
Don't worry. Thank you very much. Well, the term is Ghana Federation of Organizations. Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations.
All right.
Okay, so we are all persons with disability.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Mr. Excellency, Your Excellency, Mr. President, and all the good people here, we just want to say that as persons with disability, we are one of the most vulnerable groups of this nation. And we have been so adversely affected by this evil and, bad practice. We are very frustrated, we're disappointed, and we're angry at this situation. This issue of galamsey has plagued this nation for I don't know how many years. And we've put in measures, we've put in laws, we have different institutions, we have bodies, we have Attorney General, we have the military, we have the police. I could go on and on and on. And still, the people are doing it. And still, they continue to kill our water bodies. They continue to kill our environment. And now they are killing us as people. And still, sometimes we really get a little fed up with a lot of... I know we need to have laws in the country. I know. We need to have laws in the country. We need policies. But we also need results. We also need things to happen. Mr. President, you have the power to stop this thing. We know it is everybody is affected. But Mr. President, you have the power to stop it. You can go on a state of emergency if that is not enough. You have the responsibility to do something to stop it and make us all safe. Now we hear of more children that are coming into the world with deformities through no fault of theirs. Right. Children are coming into the world with mental problems through no fault of theirs. Children are coming into the world without limbs through no fault of theirs. And still, people are continuing to do this poisoning. Still, they are doing this evil thing. So please.
Through no fault of mine, I would have to cut it here.
Okay.
In order to
then thank you so
save
much.
time. Thank you very much for your contribution. Now that brings us to an end of the session for questions and contributions. I do know that there are many of you here who would have loved to make contributions or ask questions, but as you may be aware, we are very hard pressed for time. So we will give the opportunity to His Excellency the President to summarize. All right, so the Lands Minister will take a few questions. Perhaps you will want to address Franklin's. Yes, so there are a few questions that he would like to speak to. And then His Excellency the President will take the floor and make some remarks.
There was a question about the frontline institutions and people who have really not helped this fight, what we are doing. I can assure you that we are dealing with them appropriately. Those that must be terminated, those that must be punished. We are working on that as part of the whole reform. On budget, I think it's a very good question. If you saw my presentation, I called corporate Ghana to come to our aid in supporting this fight against illegal mining. For example, if I give you how much is required to reclaim 7,500 football fields, probably the whole of Ghana's 1 year budget has to be spent on the galamsey fight. And so clearly, that is really a problem, and I thank you for bringing it up. But corporate Ghana must come and support us collectively in this fight, especially reclaiming our water bodies and dechemicalizing program. It's a very expensive undertaking, And so I want to make sure we bring that up. Thank you very much. Deportation is not government policy, it's an administrative decision, and I believe that we've already tabled it strongly. I'm sure His Excellency will review this and make sure that we address it appropriately. I thank you.
Thank you very much. So, having heard from various segments of Ghanaian society, I now have the privilege to invite His Excellency President John Mahama to give some remarks which may factor in some of the concerns that have been raised here this afternoon. Thank you very much.
First, dialogue on illegal mining. We know that the issues of illegal mining are dear to your hearts and to the hearts of every Ghanaian. And that's why we decided that from time to time we'll hold this dialogue. This is not going to be the last. We'll hold this dialogue to update you on the progress that we're making in the fight against illegal mining. Mining in Ghana has been historical, and when the first Portuguese arrived in Elmina, one of the first things we sold to them was gold, and that's why they built the fort in Elmina. Our grandfathers were involved in mining. The problem with the difference between then and now is that they use rudimentary tools to undertake the mining. And so the capacity to create destruction to the environment was very limited. The whole equation changed when the small-scale mining sector started deploying heavy earth-moving equipment. Before, it was only the big-scale mining sector that was involved in using excavators and bulldozers and huge dump trucks. At a point in time, the small-scale mining sector, which is a legal sector of our mining, it was passed in PNDC time to allow, because we realized that the big mining companies were owned by foreign companies, and Ghanaian small-scale companies that had the capacity to mine were prevented from doing so. And so the mining code was revised to add for small-scale miners. And as I said, there's a difference between small-scale mining and artisanal mining. Artisanal mining was what existed before, using pickaxes and shovels and so on and so forth. But when the new licenses for small-scale mining started, and they could afford to bring in excavators and bulldozers and others, it meant that their ability to destroy the environment was expanded. And that is where we currently have our problem. I want to assure you that we are determined to win this fight. And your contributions, your criticisms, your pressure, putting fire under our feet does not have any problem. We don't have any problem with that. You must continue to do your advocacy, to urge us on, to encourage us to win the fight. As I said in the last media encounter, I said that I had no illusions that within 7 months I was going to win the fight against Galamsey. And I said that it wasn't going to be an event, it was going to be a process. Mistakes have been made. In the first effort we made, we go into a forest reserve. We mapped out the forest reserves that had been that had incursions of illegal miners, and we deployed the first wave of our security services. They scored a lot of successes. In a short time, they had cleared some of the major forest reserves that were called no-go areas. Unfortunately, after we cleared the illegal miners from there, the security services withdrew and handed over the forest reserve to the Forestry Commission. And so they put their forest guards there. The forest guards don't have the capacity to defend the reserves against the illegal miners. And so lessons learned were that in the next wave, with the formation of NIMOS, that we must deploy reserves. We must feed them, we must provide them with fuel, we must give them vehicles and all the logistics they need to be able to do that. And so that links up with Franklin's question about budget. We need a substantially bigger budget than we have currently to be able to win this war. Happily, budget hearings have started. The budget for next year is going to be presented to Parliament, and my expectation is that the Minister of Finance will give a much bigger allocation to this fight against Galamsey. We also need enough troops. Our troops are stretched. We have so many chieftaincy disputes all over the country, land disputes. And so you go to Sampa, we have troops there. You go to Gonjaland, Savannah, there are troops there. You go to Boko, there are troops there. You go to Nkwanta, our troops are there. And then our troops are also on the border to protect us from terrorism. And so they are spread thin. If we take another batch of them and go and put them in the forest, it means that we are committing most of our troops to other things other than crime prevention and keeping us safe. And so that's why NIMOS is a combination of the police and the army. So all of them contribute troops. And then we also have national security also contributing and all the other agencies. But happily we have some additional troops coming with the winding down of some of the peacekeeping theaters. And so when they come, as many of them as possible, we'll add them to the force so that we're able to dominate all the anti-Galamsey sites and be able to win the battle. As he said, we have targeted 7 major zones in the regions, and the army have come up with a proper strategy. NIMOS has come up with a proper strategy for engaging the illegal miners and making sure that we clear them from especially the forest reserves and the water bodies. One of the important successes is the change in the whole issue of excavators. Excavators came in huge quantities, and I remember that at a point under the previous administration, they asked that permits be gotten before excavators are imported. Meanwhile, the law did not say you should get a permit after, but that was what we came to meet, that you bring the excavator, then you go to the Ministry of Transport and ask for a permit. But the law actually says that you must get a permit before you import the excavator. And so now we're enforcing that law. And so you can't bring an excavator in, you can't put it on a ship, and we're telling the shipping agencies, if you bring an excavator for which there's no permit, we shall penalize you, the shipping agency, for carrying that excavator here to Ghana. In the meantime, we came to meet a huge quantity of excavators in the port. And that is what the Lands Minister was explaining to you, that we had to decongest the ports because there was no more space for anything. And so we've moved them to the military space at the Shire Hills and other locations, and we've corralled them there. One of the successes too is the registration of excavators. Even though the law requires excavators to be registered, nobody was registering their excavator. And so if you look at the DVLA records, there was no registration of excavators. And so anybody could bring in an excavator and take it straight into the forest. Today, we are requiring that every excavator must be registered with the owner of the excavator known. And once that is done, like he said, we started putting trackers on the excavator so that we know exactly where they are going to. It's not only illegal miners who use excavators, contractors working on our roads, quarries and others all use excavators. And so it's impossible to just put a complete ban on excavators, but we must know where that excavator is. owners of excavators responsible if we find the excavator in a forest reserve or engaged in illegal mining. And so that's one of the advances that we have made. We've started a geofencing policy where it makes it possible for us to know where every excavator is, so that if the excavator moves after where it was geofenced, then we can go and find out where did this excavator go and what is it doing where it has gone. And so that would help us. With regards to turbidity of the water, as the scientist said, it's just about, you can see physically with your eyes, you know, what the turbidity of the water is. The thicker brown it is, the more coffee-like it is, the more polluted it is. The less it is, the less polluted it is. And so, like he said, we are scoring a few successes, especially on the Ankobra. I believe the minister chose the Ankobra to start because it flows through his constituency. And so there are some successes, but like he said, we still have the Pra, we have the Densu, we have the Birim, you know, we have the Ofin and all of them. But that means that we must get more manpower. The Blue Water Guards have started work, and a lot of them are deployed on the Ankobra River. So far, we've recruited 1,000 of them. We pay them an allowance of, if you take away deductions and other taxes, of about 1,500 cedis a month. And so if we have 1,000 of them, and we pay about 1,500 a month, it means for a year, you're talking about roughly 18 million cedis. And that's for 1,000 of them. And so if we scale up, then it means that we need more money to employ more of them. But I endorse it because it gives them an alternative source of income. Because as they are fighting the pollution of our water bodies, they are also earning an income as a kind of alternative livelihood. And so that is something that we'll have to scale up. And so the Minister of Finance in doing the budget must make extra provision. We also have to start reclamation, because it's not enough to just stop them and drive them away and leave the land scarred the way it is. And so there are a few companies that have worked with the United Nations, and they have come up with some trees that help to regenerate the soil and can also take out toxins from the soil. If you've heard about the Green Sahelian Wall that the United Nations was sponsoring, some of the companies involved there have also come and tried those crops in areas that we want to reclaim. And they say that the tests are positive and they can work with us. But of course, we need to use these bulldozers and things we have recovered to level out the land before these vegetative, organisms are put in the land to be able to reclaim the land. So reclamation is one of the areas that we must look to. Happily, we should be able to get some support from green climate funds and a lot of these green funds to assist us in reclamation. But we must put our resources in first. The menace of illegal mining, and I've been trying to find out about best practice, and I found out that apparently we are not the only ones suffering. The high gold price is pushing a lot of people into gold, especially gold. Things are happening. So we might not be the only persons, but there are success stories we can learn from. Because if you look at Chile, for instance, they've been able to formalize 90% of their small-scale gold mining. It means 90%, they were in the same situation as us. But today, 90% of their small-scale mining is formalized. And they have control of it, they inspect, they make sure that they're doing the right thing. We can also achieve that. And so even though we're not alone facing that menace, I believe that we can use the best practices of Chile and others to also formalize our small-scale mining sector and make sure that we're able to take control of it. And that is part of what we tried to do when our colleagues died in the helicopter crash. We contacted the big mining companies. Some of them have concessions like 200 miles square. And they're not going to mine all of that concession today or tomorrow. There are some of the places they've explored and found out the gold content is so low that it's not really profitable for them to start mining. But for a small-scale mining company, because of their lower cost, they can mine it effectively, but they must do it responsibly. And so together with the big companies, we said, okay, let's start this cooperative mining, seed part of your concession, so that we can move the small-scale miners from where they are causing distraction onto your concessions. And then you can help us to monitor them and make sure that they are doing the right things. So that was what we were going to launch in Obuasi when the tragic accidents happened. The first was Anglo Gold. Anglo Gold agreed, and they cut out a part of the concession. I'm happy to know that since then, Newmont have come on board and are going to assist with the cooperative mining. And some of the other bigger companies have agreed that they will carve out part of their concession so that we can move these illegal small-scale miners onto those places. And so we'll continue to do that. We also have the issue of geology and geological exploration. Currently, our mineral prospects have not been explored adequately. Happily, there's new technology generated by AI that allows those with the technology to partner with our geological survey department. And what they do is they shoot seismic from satellites, and they're able to map out exactly where a mineral prospect is. Currently, when our small-scale miners get a concession, they go and dig this place. There's not enough gold there. They leave it. They go and dig there. There's not enough gold. They leave it. They come and dig here. There's not enough gold. They dig here until they find something. By the time they find something and they're mining, they've dug all over the concession. Today, it's possible to precisely map out where the mineral prospect is. And that's part of what Gold Board is trying to do. That is their other responsibility. That is to give geological survey money together with their partners to shoot the seismic for Ghana and show where exactly the resources are. And based on that, do PPPs with Ghanaian mining companies that will mine that gold responsibly so that they don't go around just digging everywhere. So that's one of the things that Gold Board is going to introduce. And this fits into their track and trace system, which they are going to launch, because we cannot export gold to the European countries because of LBMA restrictions. And yet, if we introduce a track and trace system, we should not only be able to export to the Asian countries and the Middle East, we should be able to, once the gold has been tracked and it's known to have come from responsible sources, then we can export it into the LBMA countries. And that allows us to get a much higher price, for our gold than we currently have. And so Gold Board has to activate that other aspect. Aside from that, we're looking at best practices small-scale mining, because small-scale mining is not restricted only to Africa or to Ghana. It is done even in the advanced countries. And so there are small-scale mines in Canada, Australia, even in the United States of America. And that's why when I spoke the other time, I said that we're contacting some of them so that our Small-Scale Miners Association, could be sent to go and see that you can do this in a much better way than we're currently doing. Happily, we've trained a lot of geologists, we've trained a lot of mining experts. University of Mines and Technology has trained so many of our young people who have the technology and the ability to do so. And so the intention is to attach these graduates of UMAT to the district mining organizations and they would help the district mining organizations to go and inspect the small-scale mining industries and make sure that they're doing the right thing. Normally what you do is, before you start, you must dig what they call a tailings dam to contain any water that you use to wash the gold. And so all the gold that you wash must go into the tailings dam and is contained. And after you wash the gold and you finish mining, you're supposed to cover the pits, and then after that there are chemicals that you can use to clean and detoxify the water. I'll come to that in a short while. But like I said, it's not an event, it's a process, but we'll never give up. It's a long journey, but we'll continue to work on it. I like that somebody raised that, what are we doing to the kingpins? Because most of those 1,400 who have been arrested are young youth who are looking for something to be able to look after themselves. And we'll prosecute them, we'll imprison them. But those who run those operations are the ones that we must be arresting and imprisoning, not these little boys, you know. And so we need to change our strategy. We can arrest the boys and all that. What's the least sentence? 15 years. 5 to 15. Yeah, so we'll catch these boys and we'll feed them for 5 years. Look after them for 5 years and distract them. But like I'm saying, maybe we can look rather for the kingpins and deal with them in a major way so that we are able to get something on this whole thing. With regards to toxification of the waters, like the EPA was saying, we started some pilots. There are new chemicals that have come that allows you to treat water and take out the toxins and the heavy metals. There are new chemicals that have come. One of them is called dioxin. The people came and we sent them there. They took samples, they tested. We're waiting for them to bring the results back. But there are other ways of dealing with gold, that is processing gold, without using mercury and cyanide. There are different new, for instance, you have what they call vortex concentrators. You put the gravel in there and it's a vortex, it's like a centrifuge. And all the heavy things sink to the bottom. And you're able to take out the water and you see the gold lying at the bottom. And you don't need to use mercury and all that. There's carbon filter. There you can use carbon filters to filter the water in order to be able to take out any toxins that are in there. They call it activated carbon filtration. You have reverse osmosis that is capable of taking out heavy metals and others, you know, from the water. So while we are fighting the menace, I'm also saying that we should uptake technology in order to protect our environment. So yes, let's fight the illegal mining, but at the same time, let's bring in the new technologies that allow us to be able to protect our environment. Now with the elephant in the room, state of emergency. You know, yes, I have the power to do it, but the president acts on the authority, not only on the authority, on the advice of the National Security Council. And as at now, this moment, the National Security Council believes that we can win the fight against Galamsey without a state of emergency. I want to assure you that the day they advise me otherwise, that, boss, now we need a state of emergency, I will not hesitate in declaring a state of emergency. But we do still think that we have the powers to be able to win this fight. And as we deploy more troops and we apply more resources to the fight, I'm sure that gradually we'll begin to see that we're winning the fight. So like I said, this is not going to be a one-stop dialogue. We're going to continue to update you. We need your support. We need your criticism. We need your advocacy. We need your pressure. Continue to put our feet to the fire, because that will encourage us to also continue to work harder. And so I want to personally assure you that as president, I will also continue to put pressure on my lands ministry and all the ministries that are involved in this to make sure that we're able to hand over to our children and our grandchildren an environment that our great-grandfathers handed over to us. They gave us a beautiful country with a lot of forests and trees and beautiful rivers. We should not hand over poisoned rivers and desecrated forests to our children and our grandchildren. And so we will continue to fight. I believe that we'll win the fight against Galamsey. And I want to thank you for the advocacy that you continue to do. We'll hold the next dialogue. NIMOS will go to work and continue. And once we chalk more successes, we'll be able to come and update you that this is what we're doing. We want to do it transparently. We have nothing to hide. I don't gain anything from Galamsey. I am not personally involved in Galamsey, and I have no interest in it continuing. And so you can be sure that we are all on the same side, and we'll continue to do this. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. All right, so please be seated. Enjoy this brief musical interlude.
Musika upenti kana say wauda upenti yewu hey magana ala say so me wangwa musika upenti enti kana say hey nkodaya o ne bisatiti hey I'm saying, queer Dutch. Sorry. And I want to know, I'm walking what thing. Oh, when you're open to you, and he gonna say, stop, I'm saying now. Say, mother, now. Let's stop, God, I'm saying now. Stop, God, I'm saying. I'm saying about somebody. We are losing our motherland. Come on into a with the pharmacy. I want to for very
President's invitation to be with him this afternoon and sharing your perspectives on the important issue of Galamsey. As the President indicated, this will not be a flash in the pan. It will be a sustained activity through which important updates will be given on the progress made in the fight against Galamsey. So keep your scrutiny coming, keep your criticism coming, and keep the pressure on. And government on its part will respond in the way that it should to address the problem. On that note, we bring the curtains down on today's program. Thank you. But before then, His Excellency the President will depart after the national anthem is played, after which there is some refreshment outside, to which... Shall we remain standing as the President departs?